Hi guys, welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you know, in our last tutorial, we had completed React Redux series. We are almost done with all the basic concepts of React, React hooks, and React Redux. Me and my team, we had decided to draft a video for you guys in which we will be letting you all know the very basic question answers related to React and React Redux. Let's move forward and try to discuss about all the questions and their answers that you guys will encounter in your interview. So let's move forward and try to discuss about React JS interviews, question and answer. First of all, they will ask you what is React JS. And your answer to that is React JS is, as you guys all know, that React JS is a library that will help you to build user interface. So the actual definition that is available for what is React JS is a JavaScript library used for building user interfaces, particularly single page application. It allows developers to create reusable UI components. Secondly, most probably they will ask you what are the main or major features of React JS. So you can just go on by explaining main four of them. The first one will be virtual DOM. What is virtual DOM? React creates a lightweight copy of the real DOM and it updates only the changed element, improving performance. Okay. Secondly, you can explain JSX, JavaScript XML. JavaScript XML is a syntax extension that allows HTML to be written inside JavaScript. You can use render function for that. You guys know very well for that. And we had learned that already in all our tutorials before. Thirdly, you can explain about component-based programming. That is, React applications are made of multiple reusable components. You can split all your code into small reusable components. Lastly, you can explain the main feature is one-way data binding. Data flow is in single direction. You can always pass data from parent to child. Okay. As soon as you will explain this one, most people from you or most viewers from you will encounter another question. What is that? That is, what do you like and dislike about React? So as per my understanding, most of the developers in React JS, they like component-based architecture. You can move all your functionality in different components and reuse them. Second thing is hooks. That's the very major feature of React JS that will help you to handle many things in detail. Thirdly, you can say a strong ecosystem of React. Lastly, you can say one-way data binding. As I told you in last slide, the React have one-way data binding. And you can say virtual DOM that few minutes before I had explained to you already. In case you want more detailed explanation, you can go on to our first series of React JS. You can get all the question answer or all these topics in details in each tutorial. Most of the developer, they what they don't like in React JS is JSX complexity. Sometimes JSX element got complex by passing a lot of props in them and nested elements. So due to that, some of the people, they can say like they don't like this feature for React. Then they can say there is no built-in routing system. In React JS, till today's date, there is no built-in routing system. There is in Next.js. We'll talk about Next.js, but for the meantime, that React JS didn't have any routing system. You will always use third-party library. No folder structure is available. You are open to create any kind of folder structure. It varies from developer to developer. For example, if I will give you a existing project to go on and it's being built by another developer, it will be hard for you to understand the folder scheme according to the old developer. Fourth thing is steep learning curve. So there is a learning curve in React as a lot of out modules or third-party modules you need to learn with React in building a large-scale application. So your learning curve will be steep. Like I can say, React Router DOM is an example. React Redux is an example for that for state management due to that. And there are some frequent updates. Same as there are very big major update between class component and functional component was hooks. So these kind of updates that makes you like some of the people or some of the developer, they can say that they don't like React JS. But I believe personal opinion is mostly everyone know like React JS, it's in the market. Then you will encounter another question, that is what is the difference between functional component and class components. So functional components are stateless components, simple functions that receive props and an argument. It will become stateful component when then you will use hooks inside it. There are some questions regarding hooks are coming as well. So class components are ES6 classes that can hold and manage their own state and have their own lifecycle method. As soon as you will talk about lifecycle method, the interviewer will come back to you again with the same question, what is class component lifecycle method? So you have to know about it. I believe personally in today's date, you need to have knowledge about class lifecycle method by all means. If you don't have it, you should get it, because without that you will not be able to understand the working flow of React exactly, even with hooks. So in React JS, class components have a lifecycle method that are triggered at different phases. So there are mainly three phases, that is mounting phase, updating phase and unmounting phase. Morely used component class lifecycle methods are component did mount, did update and did unmount. In hooks, the alternate is useEffect hook for that. So if in case you guys don't know about class lifecycle method, you can just pause this video and go to our video that we are patching right now in a card. You can go on to that video and learn in detail about class lifecycle method. Come back to our video and recontinue it from here again. So after that, they will ask you what is the difference between controlled component and uncontrolled component. This is most probably all interviewer will ask you this question. So what are the differences between controlled and uncontrolled component are? Like controlled component are those their data is managed by React state, either in class component or hooks. If you are managing the data of the component with the help of state that are in your control. Uncontrolled components are the one that maintain their own state in the DOM, typically accessed via refs. So you can access uncontrolled component with the refs by using this.ref, or for example reference, you can save it ref.current.value. So all the things we had explained in our series, you can go back and view the series of React, or I'll recommend you to start from the beginning. That's more better. So you can access them still to get the value using reference hook, useRef hook, or you can store the reference of the component in your state and you can get the values. Controlled are the one you can get directly the value from the state because it's managed within the state. What are fragments? Very typical question. Fragments are the one React fragments that allow grouping of multiple elements without adding extra node. You know that each component in React returns a single node. In case you have multiple nodes need to be returned from the element, what you can do is you can wrap them up with the fragment. Fragment basically used for this purpose only in React. Empty closing and opening tag or React.fragment, both things can work. After that, what are hooks in React? A very typical question, what are hooks in React? And I believe personally everyone knows about it. What are hooks? You know very well, this is very major update of React and people, they are using uncountable time hooks in their any application. Use state, use effect, use context. I think like impossible that you guys didn't use state, use effect or use context hook in your application. If you're working with React.js, those are many most common hooks to use. Hooks are the functionals that allows you to use state and other React feature in functional components. Some common hooks are use state, use effect. Use effect is actually a side effect that is an alternate of mounting, unmounting and updating phase of class lifecycle methods. You can use it for calling API and all that stuff. Use context hook is for managing state globally. You guys know already. Still, if you don't know, you can go on to our hook series and watch this. What is the difference between useEffect and useLayoutHook? Very logical question. Use state and useLayoutEffect hook. You know the difference between synchronized and asynchronized programming. What is synchronized programming now? Synchronized programming is the one where you will call the function and you don't need to go to any third party to get data. For example, I'll tell you, to increment the value of a counter is a synchronized method, or you can, this is the function that you are going to perform synchronously, that you have to just increment the value. But if I will tell you to hit an API of some weather, there is some endpoint that is returning the data for the weather and bring me the current forecast of the weather. This operation is like asynchronous. You don't know. You have an endpoint, how it will respond. It will give you data back or no, you don't know. If it gives, the data will return back in how much time, you don't know. So when things are unknown, that time you will have asynchronous programming. So useEffect runs asynchronously after the render and is used for calling APIs or data fetching. But on the other end, useLayoutEffect runs synchronously after all DOMs mutations, which can block rendering until the effect is executed. Okay, it is used when you need to modify the DOM before the browser pings. For example, you have to put some value inside the UI when the component is loading. At that time you want to get some data and put it inside the DOM. You can use useLayoutEffect. That is necessarily required. Normally it will render your UI. After that it will call the useEffect hook to bring the data. So that will actually speed up the process. For programming, next question will be, what is JSX? You guys know very well what is JSX. JSX stands for JavaScript XML. It is a syntax extension that looks similar to HTML and allows developers to write HTML structure inside JavaScript code or inside JavaScript functions and class components. Okay, what are props in React? Very basic question. You can pass data like with the help of props. It's like an argument going inside the function or class. Props, short for properties, are read-only inputs passed from a parent component to child component. Props allows for dynamic rendering based on the data passed. Okay. After that, they will ask you, explain props trailing in terms of React JS. What is props trailing? So I will explain you right away. If still you guys didn't understand in this slide, you can go on to this video and you can understand props drilling in detail. Here we had explained already. Props drilling is React referred to the process of passing data via props from parent component down through the multiple intermediate components until it reaches to the child component that needs it. This often happens when several components in the component tree don't need the data themselves, but still have to pass it down to a component deeper in the tree. Following some solutions are available in React to overcome props drilling problem. So there are some sort of solutions available for props drilling problem. You know very well props drilling problem. What is that? Passing data within the component, parent to child, child to another child, and then next level of child, and then next level of child, and the component available in between the hierarchy, they don't need them. You can manage those state or those data globally with the help of context API, Redux, JustBand, Recoil, Jothai, Remax, and Mobax. There are some certain solution provider available, but 90% of the companies, they are using what? Redux in large scale application. Why? Because of Redux have very rich ecosystem and it has a lot of feature and functionalities that we had learned in our just last tutorial series. After that, what is context API and what is Redux? As you had talked about context in your interview and Redux, few minutes before from prop stealing problem, interviewer will ask you this question: what is context API and what is Redux? So context API provides a way to share data globally across the components without needing to pass props at any level. Instead of drilling the props down to each component, you can wrap the component that need access to the data in the context provider only. Similar to that, Redux is a state management library that can be used with React to manage the global state of an application. It follows a unidirectional data flow and provides a central store where the state of the app is kept. We had learned straight away Redux few videos back. If you guys still want to learn it and you don't know, you can watch this video and go on with the concept, come back and re-continue the video. After that, they will ask you why you need Redux over context. As soon as you will explain them the Redux and context, so they will ask you if context API is available in React, why do we need Redux? You should answer that. What is the answer? Complex state management. Sometimes you will have a lot of complex states. Redux rich ecosystem will allow you to handle those complex states very easily. But on the other end, context API will make it more complex and difficult for you to understand. And sometimes in large scale application, there are some certain functionalities of Redux you will require always, like Redux thunk for async operations. So for that one, you always need that. State mutation logic is another example, and then middlewares and side effect async logic, as I told you a few minutes back. Then debugging and dev tools. There are some dev tools available with React Redux also. Use dev tools and identify if you are encountering any kind of problem in your program. After that, scalability and team collaboration. You can go on with module-based Redux system. It will help you to collaborate with your team in case of state, any kind of state you are managing in that. After that, you will get another question, that is what is conditional rendering and list rendering. This is very important question and it will be very logical. Most of the people in current era don't know about this, and sometimes there is some sort of bugs coming up or appearing in the application. Most of the developers, they are not able to resolve that. So this is very crucial. What is conditional rendering and list rendering? Why interviewers are asking this question? Because of one specific thing. Conditional rendering, let's say conditional rendering is the process of rendering different element or component based on specific conditions. React use JavaScript conditional statement like if else or the ternary operators to control what to render in the UI. Similar to that, list rendering refers to rendering the collection of items dynamically by iterating over an array using JavaScript methods like map. React makes it easy to loop through arrays and renders a component of each item. Very traditional, very easy. But they will ask you if you forgot to tell them what is the potential bug you will face while rendering a list. Make sure to mention it by yourself. If you didn't mention, they will ask you as well as an interviewer. So when rendering a list in React, a common potential bug you may encounter is related to incorrect or missing key props. Whenever you are iterating over the array and mapping them in your DOM by using JSX element, you are sometimes forgetting the key or you are passing the incorrect value of the key. For list item, the key props is very crucial of React to effect track and updates of item in a list. On the base of this key only, React identifies if the item is changed, update or no, I have to re-render it or no. if you don't have knowledge about this issue, you can go to over this video and you can try to learn about it. Pause the video, learn in detail, come back, you will understand it in detail. If you use keys incorrectly, it can relate to unexpected behaviors such as re-rendering issue, reordering, and inconsistent UI and key duplication issue as well. Okay, after this, they will ask you how to optimize React application, because you had done with the re-rendering, list rendering and conditional rendering. Already you had answered. So how you can optimize the React application? There is a function named as React Memo. We had already explained in detail regarding React Memo in our React series. Other than that, you can use hooks, use memo and use callback hook to optimize and reduce the re-rendering of unnecessary elements. Other than that, you can use pure components to stop the unnecessary rendering in the React. Later on, you can use lazy loading like react.lazy and suspense to split your code. That is very useful concept of React. After that, you can optimize your images. Later on, by using WebP, you can say, oh, normally people, they know already in websites, they should use WebP image extension. Avoid using anonymous function. Don't pass the function anonymously. Always use an arrow function and save the name of the function somewhere and then pass it as a props or as a callback or on click event or wherever you are going to pass it. Then debounce and throttle expenses operation like search, input or API call. After that, minimize re-renders by structuring and managing state efficiently. That will be done by using React Redux only. After that, use React dev tools to profile your application and find bottlenecks. You can find easily by using React dev tools where you are using more memory in your application or where your application is lacking. Implement SSR, server-side rendering, for faster initial loads and SEO benefits. SSR is a concept of Next.js, I can say. We will be learning that in detail, but for the meantime, just say like server-side rendering you have to use. You can answer this to your interviewer. After that, use tree shaking or remove dead code from your product bundle. Okay, and then minimize the size of your dependencies and bundle size. Whatever dependencies you are using unnecessary, just remove them. Try to use as less dependencies as possible. The next question is, you have to share the logic between components. As we had told you before, that React allows you to reuse the components or reuse the reusable code in terms of small components. How you can share the logic between multiple components? Like for example, you need counter. How you can share the counter logic between 2 or 3 components? There are 3 main techniques available. One of them is higher order component, another one is render props, and the last one is custom hook. You can use mainly these 3 concepts to share the logic between components, but there are some more as well. That is component composition, then context API, then utility function. You can create some static utility function to share the logic as well, and you can use state management libraries like Redux to share the logic of components as well. So these are the available techniques to share the logic across the component, but mainly people, they use either higher order components, render props or custom hooks. Higher order components or render props are normally used in terms of class components, but custom hooks is very common to share the logic between components nowadays in current era. After this, what are some of the packages you will use along with React application? So mainly this is the final question from the React interviewer. If you are able to answer all of those, this will be his final question. So what packages you can use? As we know that React Redux and Redux for state management. Mostly you can use why. Few slides back I had explained you already why. On top of Redux you can use React. On top of context API you can use React Redux. After that, integrate React with other frameworks like Next.js for better performance. You can do that one also. Nowadays it's very common. After that, you can use React Routes with DOM for routing purpose as well. And then after finishing the React interview, most probably 90% of the companies, they are using Redux as well in their projects. So the probabilistic question for Redux, I will tell you. You guys can go on to our series to see the series in detail. It will allow you to understand all the answers. If you still don't have any question, you need answer, you can comment us. You can reach us to our mailbox as well. We'll definitely answer you on prior basis as well. So first of all, they will ask you what is Redux. Secondly, it's most probably that they will ask you how to decide whether to use context API or Redux. This question I already told you a few minutes back. What is Redux? Redux is a state management library that you can use along with your React application. Why? Because of very rich ecosystem. It will allows you to create a store, a reducer, state and method, that is dispatch or dispatchers you can say, or action creators. What is Redux store? They will ask you what is Redux store. We had explained in our last series. You can go on and understand what is Redux store. Very normal. It can keep all the states in terms of modules of your application. Like you can piece or divide all the state on the base of modules and you can pass them all in your Redux store. Redux store will manage all the state separately inside it. They will ask you what are actions. Actions are the ones that you will be performing, and action will be dispatched by using action creators. And what are action creators? That will allow you to return an action creator in the form of an object along with the data you want to pass. Reducer are the one that you can understand by using useReducer hook as well, or Redux series as well. You can go back and you will understand in detail what are reducer. After that, how to control the flow between these parts of Redux. What is the flow? Flow straight away, you cannot mutate any kind of state directly in the Redux store. You must dispatch an action that will be passed to the reducer, and reducer is responsible to handle the state in the form of returned object. Still you want to learn in details, go back to my series of React Redux and you can learn in detail. What exactly does the connect function do from React Redux library? If you don't know about connect function, don't worry. There is use selector and use dispatch hook available already. That will allow you to perform the same operation that connect method is doing. By the way, connect method will allow you can import that from React Redux library. It will allow you to map your state whatever you want, and dispatch methods whatever you want, or action creators you can say whatever you want in your component. How you can do that? Still you can go back to our React Redux series. We had explained all that in details about that. You can learn from there as well. What do map state to props and map dispatch to props actually do? Same thing what I have told you a few minutes back. It will allow you to map your state and map your dispatch methods to the props of the component with the help of connect method from React Redux library. And after that, why should you dispatch an action to update the state? Why not update the store directly? This is actually like mostly what I believe for that. That's very much good, pretty good for that. And React Redux, why? If they will allow you to update the state straight away directly, you cannot maintain the modules. It's against the rich ecosystem of Redux as well. You will have a lot of mistake if you want to update the state directly, like because the states are complex in Redux. In terms of modules, it's defined. So if you want to update one state, how you can update another one? Very difficult for you as a developer to maintain like state of 50 modules, and you have to update that one directly. Due to that, we need reducers to update that one by using return object as well. Very easy and very simple. You can go on with that. In reducer, why should you return a new object? Why not modify the existing object? Redux ecosystem, what it will do is it will override the returned object directly. React is already overriding your current object of state. Same thing you will do twice. So it will just increase the complexity, nothing else. So you must return the new object. That's much better. So I think that's it. So I hope you guys understand it, you guys like it. In case of any question, any query, or in case you have any question, viewers, I believe there will be some viewers that will have more knowledge than me as well. So in case you have any question, you can comment us also for the help of our viewers. And other than that, if any viewers need any clarification, if you have any question or if you have any question, you can comment us in our mailbox, and you can comment us to the same video as well. Yeah, one thing, please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. We'll see you soon in the next video. We are bringing a brand new series related to GitHub. In detail, we will be explaining the Git features. So stay tuned, guys. See you in the next video. Until then, take care. Goodbye.